Biodiversity is having combination of two terms, right? Bio and diversity. So whenever you are coming across any new term, you should try to split into different words. Say like root word, we have prefix, we have suffix. If you try to split any new term into main word or root word, prefix and suffix, then you are able to understand any new term easily. So biodiversity, without elaborating much, I would say that biodiversity is one of the subtopic of the chapter 1, the living world. So let's try to understand what diversity means. Diversity here refers to state of being diverse or degree of variation or degree of differences. Variety and different here are two different synonym of diversity. You are different, I'm different. All living organisms, plants, or whether it's unicellular or multicellular, all of us are different. So different diversity here means different or variety. Let me split the term biodiversity into two terms, two words, bio and diversity. All of us know that bio refers to life. And life here indirectly refers to a living organism. Why? Living organisms like us possess a unique characteristics, that is life. Because of life, we are alive. So bio indirectly refers to living organisms. As we had discussed, diversity here refers to variety. There are different living organisms existing on Earth. All of the living organisms are different. For example, animals do survive in water bodies. They are aquatic animals. Some do survive in polar regions. We are terrestrial animals. There are some animals found in deserts. So biodiversity or different living organisms are existing everywhere. Whenever different living organisms exist on planet Earth, they are dependent on many factors. We humans, you are dependent, you are interacting. Because of various interaction within your body, different organs are interacting. Different organs are being coordinated to perform different functions in your body. You will be interacting with your friends, parents. So interaction between you and parents, and we interact with nature. Without interaction of ourselves and with the nature, say like abiotic factors like sunlight energy, water, soil, or the rocky part of the earth crust, we interact among ourselves. Different living organisms interact among themselves and with the other living organisms and with abiotic factor. So that is making the term diversity. I hope I've made the term biodiversity quite clear to you. So biodiversity here refers to existence of different living organisms. They not just existence. We are also studying about their relationship, their interaction among themselves and with different abiotic components. So in your NCERT textbook, it's mentioned that there are 1.7 to 1.8 million species existing on this planet Earth. It's amazing, right? So all of these different living organisms do interact among themselves with the abiotic factors. So in that way, different living organisms survive on this planet Earth. So existence of different living organism is must. If there is more diverse living organism, then the ecosystem will be more stable. If ecosystem is stable, then we are going to survive for long century. So biodiversity ensures balanced and more stable ecosystem. No, now if biodiversity have to be studied, then you have to study about millions of species. That is difficult for us to study, right? So we were saying that there are millions of species, 1.7 to 1.8 million species. And all of these species are not same. They are different in size, different in shape, different in color, different in habitats. They survive in different habitats. Many other characteristics are different in us, and we all are different. Living organisms are different, and they exist on planet Earth. And as a biologist, we have to study about everything. We have to study about the story of life, living organisms, how they have originated, how what processes are occurring in their body. We have to study about everything. That is difficult, but scientists are very wise. What they have done is to study different living organisms. They classify different living organisms into different groups. A new branch of biology called taxonomy was devised. And taxonomy help us to study about living organisms systematically and in standardized manner. So if I put forward a question, why are living organisms classified? Then you will answer like this. Millions of living forms, 1.7 to 1.8 million species, varying in size, shape, color, habitats, and many other characteristics exist on Earth. Studying about every living organism is difficult, challenging. So therefore scientists have devised taxonomy for systematic and standardized study of living forms. So taxonomy makes our learning easier. So every time you should try to study by easing your learning materials. You should make your concepts easier by trying to draw out concept map. You should try to make notes on notes. So what exactly is taxonomy? I was saying a lot about taxonomy, right? So if I ask you this question, it's simple. I've already given hints about taxonomy, right? So taxonomy is a systematic, is a branch of systematic, It is a branch of systematic. Systematic here refers to a branch of biology wherein biologists study about classification of different living organisms on the basis of evolutionary relationships. Now, taxonomy is a branch of systematic, or it is a different subject of biology, or it is a different branch of biology in which taxonomists, they try to look for the characters of different species. They try to identify the species. They give name to the species, newly discovered species, and they used to classify different living organisms on the basis of different characteristic features. So, to do that, scientists, taxonomists, they have to work hard. And it's their passion. Taxonomy, though require intensive laboratory and field studies, say like just for collection of a specimen, it's difficult, right? They have to observe, they have to go to the field, they have to identify. So it is labor intensive. It also requires laboratory work. It requires documentation. But that's a passion for taxonomists, for some biologists. So if we are saying that taxonomy is a labor intensive, why it is becoming labor intensive? So let's discuss about the different processes of taxonomy, or different procedures for carrying out classification of living organism. So far, it's easy for us. Scientists have already done the classification of living organism. We know that there are 5 different kingdoms of living organisms, how they are classified, and many other things. So different processes of taxonomy are: first, characterization. Taxonomists look for the different characters, whether the characters are similar or dissimilar. Second, they used to identify different living organisms on the basis of name. If I show you an apple tree, you will say that that's apple tree. That's identification. You are trying to recognize apple tree with name of apple. And third, they used to classify different living organisms. They group different living organisms on the basis of different characters. Characteristic features are the main basis for classification of different living organisms. We classify ourselves as human. And if we see cows, we say that that's cow, right? So we classify different living organisms on the basis of different characters. And fourth, another process, the last process, is to give name to the living organism. So naming is, we can't name living organism by our own. If we give name by our own, then there is confusion. So nomenclature is a process of standardized naming of living organisms such that a particular organism is known by same name all over the world. So nomenclature is a standardized naming procedure, and the name should be same, and it should be referred by the name throughout the world, so that there is no confusion among ourselves. There is no barrier, language barrier. If we say Mangifera indica, then that's for mango. Homo sapiens, that's for us. And likewise, we have many other standardized biological nomenclature or biological names. Now, if we say that naming should be done by an international organization, if we say that naming should be same, then they should have some international organization, right? So if I ask you, mention some international organization that provides and regulate the uniform system of nomenclature, then you have to think, right? It's easy. Before naming anything, we should report whatever new species are discovered by us to some international organization, and they will start to look after your finding, and they will give standardized name for the newly discovered species. So usually procedure, principles, different recommendations of naming different species are given by ICBN, International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, which is for naming different plant species. If you find a new plant species, then you have to get recognition from ICBN. They will help you in giving name. ICZN or ICZN, that is International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Animals are usually names of animals are usually regulated or given by ICZN. We also have International Code of Nomenclature, which is giving names, which helps in naming different algae, fungi, plants. So all of you may be familiar with a great scientist called Carolus Linnaeus. You know, he is the father of modern taxonomy. If I say father of modern taxonomy, then he might have done lots of work on classifying living organisms, right? He is a very passionate scientist, naturalist. He used to go around and observe different living organisms, and he had written and published a book called Systema Naturae. So this is the book published by Carolus Linnaeus, and he is very popular for classification, and he developed binomial nomenclature. Bi means two, Normal means term. Two-term nomenclature. Two-term naming. So two words naming. So if I give an example, for mango we call Mangifera indica Linn. Linn here is the name of Linnaeus, Carolus Linnaeus. So Carolus Linnaeus is famous for giving binomial nomenclature. So if we look a little more detail into the scientific naming or scientific names or biological names of mango, then mango is usually called as Mangifera indica, and in some books you will find Linn also. I'll try to split the word Mangifera indica Linn. Mangifera indica and Linn. Mangifera is generic name. Generic name here refers to name which is given to the genera. A generic name here refers to genera, name of the genera. Genera is a group of classifying living organism. We have kingdom, phylum, class, order, species and all, right? We have king, Philip, can, order for good so. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. So Mangifera here refers to the generic name, and generic name is usually written in capital letter. Mangifera is starting with the capital letter, so it is usually capitalized. Indica here refers to the specific name of the species of mango. We have different species of mango, right? So epithet here refers to description of the species, and usually specific name is species name or specific name is written in small letter, and Linn is the scientist who discovered the species. Now if you look at the scientific name of Mangifera indica Linn, then you are able to find some unique way of writing, right? It is usually Latinized. Latinized here refers to in Latin mode. Most of the scientific name or biological name is written in Latin language. Whenever we are publishing any book, we have to write all the names of the species. Names of the scientific name, biological names should be italicized, should be written in slanted manner. Okay? And whenever you're writing scientific name, you have to underline it. So hope you have understood how name is given to a species and how biological names are written. Latinized should be mostly in Latin language. Italicized, written in slanted manner, should be underlined whenever we are writing. If we are publishing, then it should be written in slanted manner. So with this, we'll stop this video, and you have to answer these following questions. First question is, what is the meaning of term diversity? What is biodiversity? Mention some international organizations that provide and regulate a uniform system of nomenclature. Fourth, discuss the basis of process of taxonomy. Why are living organisms classified? Simple, right? All these questions were discussed by me. So till then, take care and stay safe.